Welcome to Phantom Tales from Vietnam, where spine-chilling spiritual stories based on true events come to life. Today, we invite you to listen to a haunting tale of the grave behind the house, where family bonds and restless souls are forever entwined. The story begins. In a quiet countryside village, where the land was wide and the people sparse, there lived a woman named Mrs. Lin, a well-known figure in the area for her stern demeanor and her leadership in the family's matriarchal line. She never married, never had children of her own, but she adopted a girl named Lan. From a young age, Lan was treated like a precious gem. Mrs. Lin poured all her love and attention into the child, shielding her from every whisper of gossip and every raised eyebrow in the family, even though the girl turned out far from what she had hoped. Lan grew up rebellious, aggressive, always picking fights with neighborhood kids and disrespecting elders. The older she got, the more she spiraled, gambling, partying, disappearing for days. Then, one day, she came home pregnant. No one knew who the father was. The family, already disapproving of her, turned cruel. They saw her as a disgrace. They cursed her, distanced themselves, leaving Mrs. Lin to defend her alone. In a fit of anger, Lan stormed out of the house late one stormy night on her motorbike. The rain was pouring, thunder cracking overhead. She never made it back. Her body was found wrapped around an electric pole, crushed and bloodied. The unborn baby didn't survive either. To everyone else, her death felt like a relief, a burden lifted. But for Mrs. Lin, it was the end of the world. She lost the child she raised, the only person she had. But since Lan wasn't a blood relative, the family refused to bury her in the ancestral cemetery. Heartbroken, Mrs. Lin dug a grave behind the house, right there in the backyard, and buried Lan near the place that once echoed with her laughter. From that day on, Mrs. Lin slowly deteriorated. Her health declined, her mind faded. A stroke left her paralyzed, lying on a wooden platform in the center of the house, eyes wide open, staring blankly at the ceiling. The once lively home turned cold and heavy with silence. When Mrs. Lin finally passed away, her funeral was modest. As they closed the coffin at noon, the time of strongest yang energy, her body suddenly jolted. Her eyes flew open and stared straight at the ceiling as if still alive. Everyone panicked, fled the room in terror. Later, when they returned, she was still lying there, unmoving, but her eyes remained wide open. A doctor was called. He checked and said she's still breathing, very faint, but alive. They couldn't bury her. They brought her body back and laid her again on the wooden platform. She stayed like that, silent, unmoving, staring. Every time someone approached, her eyes would follow them, piercing deep into their soul. At night, the real horror began. Under the pale moonlight, while the whole house slept, Mrs. Lin would suddenly sit upright, growling like a wild beast. She smashed furniture, flipped tables, sprinted around the house on legs that hadn't moved in weeks. Terrified, the family had to tie her down, trapping her in mosquito nets, afraid of what she might do. Then came the whispers. She's not Lin anymore. It's Lan. She's come back. And indeed, each time she spoke in a trance or screamed, it was always about Lan, her favorite dishes, old memories, people she hated. The family began to believe that Lan had possessed the body of her mother, using it as a vessel to return. Unnerved, Uncle Bob brought in a spirit master from the neighboring village. The moment the master stepped inside, he turned pale and backed away. "This isn't a normal ghost," he said. "This is a Da Saw, a night demon. The girl died young, pregnant, full of resentment. She didn't become a spirit, she became a demon. I don't have the power to deal with this." He left in a hurry, leaving behind a house drowning in fear and the stench of death. At night, the screams continued. Furniture cracked, lights flickered, the air froze. By day, she lay still, tears flowing from eyes that never blinked. Her body began to rot, her skin turning black, mushy, stinking like something dead for days. Uncle Bob ordered everyone to stay away, claiming it was for the safety of the women. But deep down they knew he was hiding something. One afternoon, Aunt Oot was cleaning the room when she accidentally knocked over a prayer bead strand hanging on the door. A small stone bead rolled under the wooden platform. When she bent down to retrieve it, she found a soaked, torn charm hidden beneath the pillow. As she lifted the pillow, Mrs. Lin's head lolled to the side, her neck seemingly broken, her body soft and black as charcoal. And just then she let out a scream that shook the whole house. And then, through that rotting mouth, Len spoke, "You'll all pay. Uncle Ba, Uncle Oot, you forced her to sign the papers while she was dying. You never loved her. You only wanted the land." Everyone stood frozen. That voice, that tone, it wasn't Len, it was Lan. She told the truth. In her final hours, as she lay half-conscious, Uncle Ba and Uncle Oot had come in not to say goodbye, but to force her to sign documents, dividing up the inheritance. They planned to use spirit summoning to bring her back after death to sign more. Knowing this, Lan chose to possess her mother's corpse first, to protect her from being used like a puppet. But in doing so, her soul became stuck, trapped between worlds, unable to leave. From that day on, the family crumbled. Uncle Ba spiraled into alcoholism, muttering nonsense day and night. Uncle Oot lived in shame, isolating himself from the world. The house stank perpetually of rot. The women in the family suffered night terrors, often waking up to see Lan standing at the foot of their bed, her eyes full of sorrow and rage. Desperate, they held a second funeral for Mrs. Lin. This time, they invited monks, chanted for days, burned offerings, and begged forgiveness for both mother and daughter, hoping they could finally pass on. But no one really knew if Lan had ever left. "Ghosts aren't the scariest thing," an old villager whispered. "It's the human heart that's truly terrifying." The story of the grave behind the house is not just a tale of a woman returning from the dead. It's a story of betrayal, greed, and the lonely cries of two souls bound by love, resentment, and injustice. Lan died with hatred. Lin died in sorrow. Both became trapped in a limbo of suffering because no one truly loved them when they were alive. Sometimes we only recognize the value of something after it's gone, but by then, it's far too late. The candle flickers, the incense burns. Somewhere behind that house, Lan still walks, her spirit restless, waiting, watching forever. Thank you for listening and joining us on Phantom Tales from Vietnam. We hope you'll continue to support the channel and stay tuned for more spine-chilling spiritual stories in the upcoming episodes.